What up? What up? What up? Welcome to the Hot Button Sports Show. You already know what time it is. I'm your host, Isaac Lane. Today is Friday, and we are going to get into some Week 3 NFL predictions. I'm going to run through some games, and I'm going to give you not only my predictions, but I'm going to also break y'all off with my keys to the game. You already know what it is. If you like this video, please do me a big favor. Like this video and subscribe so you can get notified every time the Hot Button drops a video. Now, also make a mention. Drop something in the comments. I always get back to whoever comments on the video so we can chop it up, man. All right, so I'm not going to deal with every single game because that would be pointless in my opinion. There are some dud games this week, just like there are every week. But there is one specific game that I definitely want to get into this week, and that is the Saints versus the Patriots. There's actually 4 games. If we're not including the Bucks, I'm going to have my own separate video for that. But if we're not including the Bucks, there are 4 games, and one specifically is the Saints versus the Patriots. I personally think that's going to be a great game. That's going to be a great game. Saints versus the Patriots. I believe it's at 1 o'clock, and it's at Foxborough. It's in Foxborough. And I'm actually... Well, let me give you my keys to the game first. Then I'll tell you who I think is going to win because I still don't know. Still don't know who I'm going to pick. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know in the comments who y'all think going to win out of this game, the Saints versus the Patriots. What do the Saints have to do in order to win? Saints are coming off of a disappointing loss, but they are also coming off of a topsy-turvy kind of situation. Jameis Winston throws for 5 touchdowns in week 1. No touchdowns, and I believe 2 interceptions in week 2. They are able to beat the Packers, but they couldn't beat the Panthers. So I don't know about this team. I know Jameis. What Jameis has showed these first 2 weeks, man, that's typical Jameis, bro. That's typical Jameis. He'll be hot one week, he'll be cold the next. So hopefully Mr. J. Boo can break out of that. Patriots, on the other hand, man, I see what the Patriots are trying to do. I believe it will eventually work out. But I don't think it's going to work that well for them this week because that's a real defense Matt Jones is going against. So here it is. If the Saints want to win versus the Patriots, first thing they got to make sure is this. They have to make sure that Jameis Winston has less than 25 passing attempts. Listen to me. As a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, as someone who was rocking with Jameis, not just through his collegiate career, but his first 5 years in the NFL, I know what I'm talking about. Don't have this man throwing more than 25 times. You had this man throwing more than 25 times, it's just going to spell disaster. That's just the type of quarterback he is right now. He was able to have success week 1 because he didn't even throw the ball 20 times. Now, if you asking Jameis Winston to just kind of manage it, don't throw it a lot, he's your man. But if you're asking Jameis Winston to air it out, if you're asking Jameis Winston to win you the football game, then it's not going to work. I mean, it will work for some weeks, but I don't think it's going to work against the Patriots because the Patriots have, in my opinion, one of the best defenses in the AFC. So they got to make sure Jameis Winston is not throwing the ball 40, 35, 50 freaking times like he was sometimes doing in Bruce Arians' system in Tampa. So with that being said, they have to really rely and lean on their running game. Okay? Got to lean on their running game. And last but not least, if the Saints want to win, they have to get pressure on Matt Jones. They have to sack Matt Jones. If you put Matt Jones on his butt, it's going to be even more difficult for him to get that ball into the hands of those receivers. And I don't even think those receivers that he has over there are elite. I think Nelson is a good receiver, but he's not an elite receiver. I think that the tight end that they grabbed from Tennessee, I think he's a good tight end, but he's not an elite tight end. So if you refuse to give Matt Jones time, which he's an NFL quarterback, if you give any NFL quarterback time, they're going to be able to do something. So and he's young, he's a rookie. So if they're able to put him on his butt, not give him time, they should be able to come out with the victory. That's what the Saints got to do if they want to win, in my opinion. All right, let's move on to the Patriots. The Patriots want to win. What do they have to do? Number one, they got to dominate the line of scrimmage, which is going to be a hard ask and a difficult task because the Saints' defensive line is for real. The Saints' defense, in my opinion, is for real. Although they didn't have a stud performance last week, they are for real. They're going to have to keep Cameron Jordan at bay, whatever that means. But if the Patriots want to win, even at home, they got to dominate the line of scrimmage. So if you look up at the sports ticker and you see that the Patriots have won, just believe it was because they dominated the line of scrimmage. Well, you say, don't they every time do that? No, not really. No, not really. The Kansas City Chiefs defensive line does not have to dominate opposing teams' offensive lines in order for them to win because they have such a high-powered offense. That's not the case with the Patriots. The Patriots have to dominate the line if they want to win. And then, if the Patriots want to win, they have to figure out how they're going to get points from other places. Specifically, they're going to have to try to figure out how can they generate points without the offense. They have to generate non-offensive points. Special teams, turnovers for touchdowns. They have to generate points on defense or they have to generate points on special teams. If you look up and the Patriots have won the game, I guarantee it will be because A, they dominated the line of scrimmage, or B, they were able to force turnovers and score points without actually being on offense. And with that being said, I am picking the New Orleans Saints to go into Foxborough with the win. And I think Jameis Winston is going to have a decent, not great, but a decent game. And that defense is definitely going to do enough for them to pull out the W. I'll holler at you.